get overloaded.
We'll now call the meeting of the City Council to order. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd, time is 5:30 p.m., and this is the special session of the Paris City Council meeting. A quick change on your agenda. I'd like to see if we could move item 3 up to item 2 and just switch those two items. I think there may be some of those in the crowd that are here for that specific issue. So could I have a motion to...
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jenkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Janice?
Number 3 is consider an act on the revised final plat of lots 1, 2, and 3, Block A, Walnut Creek Business Park, 266 addition, located in the 1900 block of Northeast Loop 286.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the item that you heard before last month that we had discussed a little bit, having to do with Walnut Creek Business Park, which is on the Northeast Loop in the 1900 through 2200 block of that loop. The item was tabled last time or denied last time because of the flooding issues. That was readdressed through Planning and Zoning Commission last night and was approved by a 5-0 vote on the final plat. Several items that were discussed in there, and I know you have a memo in your packet which lays out several different things in here. One of the main items that was hit on last night is that the final plat is really not the place to look at drainage. That is the preliminary plat. And one of the major differences that we're looking at would be the way the subdivision regulation is laid out is it's laid out as if you were building residential single-family lots. And the whole premise is kind of set up on that as far as a lot of knowns are in a residential subdivision, because they're going to need a standard water meter, standard sewer service. They're going to have streets, possible alleys. About what size the lot's going to be, so you can determine a lot of things based on your givens. In this particular case, where it's a commercial zoning, until you actually get a site plan, you can't plan ahead like you can on a residential, single-family subdivision. Those two kind of major differences in there kind of dictate where we are with this particular plat, in that the majority of what should be kind of covered, and even some of the things that may be listed in our checklist, you really can't do until you get a site plan or someone buys a property and actually gives you a set of plans for what they're wanting to do. Then you address all of those issues at that time when they submit a site plan. I'll be glad to answer any questions you guys have.
Open up for discussion. Dr. Hodgman?
Okay. I want to make a couple of things very clear. First of all, I want to make it very clear that we are neither business unfriendly, nor do we want to be business unfriendly. And following the rules and regulations by any means does not mean that we are trying to be business unfriendly. Furthermore, I think if the issue was just a plat, and I agree completely that anybody should be entitled to divide their property in which way they want to divide, whether there's flood zones or not flood zones is immaterial. If it's just a question of division of the property, there should have been no reason to create so much confusion in the first time when it was presented that we are putting drainage ponds and this, that, and the other. It should have been presented as a personal property which is being divided by that individual, however he wants to divide the property, whether there is drainage issues or not, or floodplains or not. That's not a problem, because as you said now, when the site plans come, you can discuss that. So I think that confusion should have been taken out to begin with, because if that confusion was not there and there was no reason to draw retention ponds, this, that, and the other, this issue would not have gone this far. So that is number one. Number two, I have no problem personally with it if, as long as the city engineer guarantees that the rules and regulations are being followed, and in future if there is any drainage issue that arises, then it be the developer's responsibility to take all the costs of the drainage issue when the work gets done. So I think in future we need to be very careful when we are doing this, that do not complicate the issue. If the issue is a simple division of a personal property, there's no reason to put all sorts of things on it. It should have been presented as a division of a person's property, whether they were floodplains, whether there were no floodplains, is immaterial. So with that said, I think once the discussion is done, I personally do not have any problem even making a motion to approve the plat with the conditions that you take the responsibility that we are following the rules and regulations, number one, and number two, whenever it's developed, if there are drainage issues that come with it, then the developer be responsible with it. I have nothing further to say.
Any others have discussion? No discussion, I'll take a motion. You had it?
I'll
You make
I'll
the
second
motion. Second by Edwin. All those in favor of approving final plat, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Janice, could you make sure that my motion is written the way I've said it?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay, Janice, item
Okay.
number 3. What is
Item
now
two.
number 3? Yeah.
Receive, discuss, and possibly act on an update of the PEDC forensic investigation.
Okay, I want to start for just a moment here and take just a second to clear the air on a few things. First of all, tonight is really about one thing, and that is clarity and objectivity. And tonight is a chance for us as a community to understand the different dynamics that are going on around us, whether we can see them or not, and to understand that development and economic development in particular is important to our community, and how do we as a community come together, adjust, and move forward. No more, no less. And what is the best way to do that? And quite honestly, that's something I really want to reiterate with the utmost importance, is that just to give you a background, and one of the reasons I did want to bring this up is we do have 2 new councilmen, and for those that don't know, on March 10th, the City Council by a 4-3 vote approved a forensic audit of the PEDC, centering on an anonymous letter regarding the PEDC's loan agreement with Harrison Walker and Harper Rogers Wade facility. I realize it wasn't HWA's total, but with that being said, they began an investigation on April 2nd, and at this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Clifford to come forward, if she would, and give us an update on what she can at this time, the status from start to finish.
Okay, I guess since it's a joint meeting, we'll call our meeting to order. It is now, 5:37. So we're in session 2. Okay. And since I want to make sure I get this all straight, I've prepared a
Ms. Clifford,
statement
can you
too.
please bring the mic closer?
Okay. As Mayor Frierson said, on March 10th, by a 4-3 vote, with Hashmi, Wright, Lancaster, and Drake voting for, and Jenkins, Grossnickel, and Frierson voting against, the Paris Economic Development Corporation was directed to engage a firm located outside of Lamar County to conduct an investigation of alleged inappropriate practices by the PEDC resulting in fraud, waste, or abuse. The purpose of this investigation of audit was to identify weaknesses in PEDC procedures to ensure that PEDC is operated in the best interest of all citizens of Paris. As previously stated, we are interested in reviewing past PEDC transactions to uncover any impropriety, misconduct, to prevent future occurrences. In accordance with the statement of work, the investigative firm will investigate alleged inappropriate and/or improper practices by the PEDC, allegedly involving financial issues and allegations implicating criminal or civil misconduct and improprieties related to PEDC policies, employment practices, and/or City of Paris or State of Texas codes, and possibly other federal crimes. Review procedures and make recommendations to remediate any of the above issues to prevent future occurrences of fraud, waste, or abuse. Based on the firm's experience, I selected Diffenbaugh Associates to conduct the investigation. In a called special meeting of PEDC on April 2nd, 2014, the PEDC board authorized me to engage the firm to conduct the investigation for the period October 1st, 2009 to the present. On April 3rd, 2014, the contract was executed. To date, the firm has been provided hundreds of pages of documents. I have been advised by Mr. Danny Diffenbaugh of Diffenbaugh and Associates that the investigation is progressing. I have received no written report. And I see in your packet that you have a copy of the contract and our invoice. Is there some question or something you would like to talk about it?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
just wanted to get an update from you as far as that, as the current status. So,
Okay.
thought I would hear you out and give you a chance to take us through the paces there. So, is that the complete report at this time, or?
That's all I have to say at this time.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Yes, you're correct. The packet did include the invoice and the contract, and at this time, I think it'd be a good opportunity to ask the council as a whole if they have any questions for discussion. I certainly do, but we'll open it up and see if anybody has anything in particular. Edwin?
In this contract, it alludes to the fact that they, and I don't know, I've got to find where it is, that they will provide us with a updated report approximately 30 days, and I think there's even closer to a date in here somewhere. And so I'm under the understanding that they haven't provided us with a report, but we paid for one.
We have paid, I guess, progression payments on it. They have been doing the work. We have not received a written report as yet from them. As I mentioned, they have received hundreds of documents that have been uploaded and given to them. We wanted to be very thorough. We did not focus on any one issue. We gave them the operations of PEDC from October 1st, 2009 to the present, so that they would have a complete picture, and I would say unbiased picture.
But the contract did call for an update, a written update, 30 days from the date of the contract.
And I don't recall the time. I had asked for one in my proposal for work to be in early May, but I don't, due to the volume of information that was given to them, they have not been able to provide me with a written report.
Ms. Clifford, the contract also states that they're to provide weekly oral status reports. Have they been doing those?
Yes.
Has the board, PDC board, been apprised of any of those?
No,
Just you?
just me.
Okay. And as Edwin said, it does say that a monthly written report of status will be given. That has not been given for May or June?
I have received no written report from them.
How much money's been paid to date?
That is the only invoice that we have paid. I have received the other invoice, and yes, I do expect it to go to the $50,000.
You have received the other invoice?
I received it yesterday.
How much was it for?
20, or about the same amount, 20-something
Do you
thousand.
have a copy of it?
$20,850.
And that brings the total to $42,000 approximately?
Almost
Close to that.
43.
Or probably a little bit more. I don't have a calculator.
Okay.
And still no report?
Still no written report.
Have they established any sort of timeline? I guess I'm trying to figure out, when this was done, it was a 3-month contract, and we're
Well,
now
they-
2 months in, and we're approaching the spending cap, and to not have any information, I guess I'm curious, what have they had to say about a timeline?
They know they only have $50,000 to go with, and that's, I believe you'll notice in the first one that he decided with the volume of information. Let's see what he's has discounted it at the cost per hour due to the volume and complexity to ensure project completion.
So, have they been to Paris?
They came when I interviewed them.
But they've only been to Paris one time?
They have been to Paris one time. We have uploaded all the information to them. We have on digital form.
Okay. Has Shannon been doing that, or have you, or?
Shannon has
Shannon's
provided.
been communicating directly with them?
Shannon has, they have been, any questions they have, some clarification they've asked me, but they have mainly been,
Okay.
Shannon's been her contact point.
Is it normal that they don't come here and actually talk to people?
They decide to interview, they have done, basically they did their field work at their own office because we digitally provide it to them. That was to save us cost and travel time and out-of-pocket expenses.
Gosh, and I guess my question is, at that point, if it's $40,000, how much does travel cost? I mean,
I wouldn't know.
that's a lot of money.
But we are talking about a 2-hour drive back and forth. It could be, that just said that they could do it more cost effectively by doing it from their own office.
Okay.
So I take them at their word. They're an experienced firm and done many investigations and have qualified people. So,
Matt, can I?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, they're qualified and we're going to take them at their word. Let me read you something. Section number 5, it says, A, contractor shall provide the PEDC with a weekly oral status report of results of investigative activities and a monthly written report of status and detail any change in investigative direction or focus. B, contractor will immediately advise the PEDC and City Council of any problem, concern, or issue which may arise which could potentially damage or deter the productive effort of obtaining positive results by any concerned entity. So, has the PEDC been advised or just you advised? And has anyone in the council been advised at all?
I know that I have talked to them, and I don't know whether Shannon has talked to them individually or it's only through email where they've asked her to clarify and send more in documentations when she sent them
Okay,
information.
but the PEDC has not necessarily heard from them.
No,
Okay, and the city council has not heard from them.
I can't speak to what you've heard and what you haven't heard.
Well, I mean, I've only been here for a week, so what do I know?
Well,
So tell me about if you don't mind, and please understand, I, again, want to go back to what we all said in the beginning. Regardless of the way the vote went, the goal is to make sure that everything is on the up and up and there was no wrongdoing and that we can make sure we're doing the right things as stewards for the community. And I can't emphasize that enough. But I think it's fair for these questions to come out at $40,000 worth of expense. So they came here March 27th. Is that?
I don't know the date, but it was after I was directed to come
sorry,
up
March
with somebody to investigate.
Sorry,
So-
March 24th. I stand
Okay.
corrected.
I didn't know.
At a charge of $400. And that was prior to the approval of the contract.
That is true, and they came, they just got the information, they really didn't get the information. They explained to them what their qualifications were, what experience they had. We told them why we were looking into it, and I guess they went ahead and did that. I did not question that since they'd already discounted the rate at which they were going to bill us. And I knew that they couldn't bill us more than $50,000.
Right. And if I remember correctly, that's because the board as a whole directed you individually to select the firm.
Yes.
Who all was at the meeting? Just you and the company?
No, and Dr. Hashmi was there since he had also presented to the meeting, but you're aware of that too. So I don't see the point of what the question is. If you have a problem with the firm, somebody should have spoke up, but the PEDC board approved me hiring this firm.
You're 100% right. The board did. I guess Mike.
Can I
Sure,
add
Dr.
something
Hashmi,
to
you
it?
bet.
There's only one meeting that I attended, and that was the meeting that they came, if I recall it right, prior to anything, they were going to bid for the contract, just like there was another company that wanted to bid for the contract. There were 3 people present, and I asked, it was during my office hours, I probably saw them for about a minute or so, because when they asked me, I said, whatever I needed to say, I've presented in the council meeting. You can get the transcripts of the council meeting, and that was about the extent of my discussion. And I left the meeting after that. So
But they
the
talked-
rest of it, I do not know. I don't know whether they charged for the meeting or not. My understanding at that time was that they came on their own prior to bidding, so I'm not sure whether there was a charge or not. I was not involved in it anyway.
But okay, so they came before the contract, billed us for it. They met with you and Dr. Hochman. I didn't know they had come here and met
Well,
with
they
you.
came to my office actually, and the reason why they came to my office, because when they asked for an appointment, I said, it's my office hours, I can't leave. So they came over to the office. As I said, I met them for about a minute or so. They asked me, well, what are your thoughts? I said, whatever my thoughts are in my presentation. You can get a copy of the presentation, and I left after that.
It's just like when you have a firm coming here for an engineering or whatever, you have them make presentations, you talk to them, you get your qualifications, and you get a feel of whether you think they're an up-and-up company. And that was the sole reason, met them face-to-face, talked to them, and with their other, Beverly, I believe was the other person that came, and we talked to them. And they went back, they came back and sent a draft of a contract with how they were proposed and what they would do and so forth with their maximums. And
Well,
you have a copy of the contract.
I mean, I think if you're going to spend $50,000 of taxpayer or EDC money, then meeting them face-to-face is the right thing to do. I guess my concern at that point was the contract was supposed to be between EDC and this firm, and now all of a sudden, nobody on the EDC has met with them except for you, but then someone else on the council has, and nobody knew anything about that. That just
Well,
kind
let
of a
me
head scratcher.
clarify
It's an
again.
ongoing investigation.
My meeting with them was not anything other than the fact that my understanding was they were coming to bid for a contract and they wanted to find out from me what my thoughts were. So I did not have a scheduled meeting with them that, to discuss anything. I really didn't discuss. I said whatever I had to say, it's in the presentations and they can get it. So I had no business communications, dealings, or any sort with them.
Okay. Have they, can you comment on, and please, anybody that wants to ask a question, jump in. Only one question that I was going to ask, and then Dr. Grosnick raised his hand. Have they met with any of the people from the PEDC? Steve Gilbert, or any of the questions that were?
They have not advised me who they have met with or what they have done. I have not. It is their ongoing investigation. I have not interfered.
Okay.
Is it on their bill?
Do what?
Is it maybe disclosed on the bill?
I think you have a copy of the bill. I think it
No,
just
well,
gives
not the
it.
new one. I know what it says on this one. I guess I would just want to know.
I haven't looked at it at that detail, but I guess I'm a little, I know that you're aware of the facts of the anonymous letter, because out of all the city council members, you were the only one on the city council at that time. And in fact, you were at the meeting in which the incentive, the loan guarantee and all
Exactly.
was there.
And nobody's asked me about it.
Well, do you think there's anything wrong with it or had a problem with it, or you think should be part of the investigation?
Can I ask you some questions?
I'm asking you one.
Well,
So, it's fair game, you're
Yes,
going
okay.
to.
Well, I'll answer my question, and then let me ask you yours.
Okay.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Now, let me ask you a question.
But
What's
I
the
thought you
difference-
did express
whoa.
some concerns about it to some other people, that there might be something that
No, I
need to be.
did not, no, not with the loan itself. No, that's not true.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood, because I know that, because I wasn't there. All I
Right.
know is from the documentations that had been provided and so forth, so
Now, during the meeting, I had some problems. That's true. I won't argue that during those meetings
I
at
wasn't there.
PDC. Well,
I don't know.
and I guess my question is are they in the minutes, my problems with it? My issues with it?
No, I just know you were there, because it's the people who were attending the meeting were there.
Okay. But if
It's
you know
not
I
in
had
the it's not
problems-
in the minutes.
If you know I had problems, and I'm telling you I had problems, then you know that the problems were there, so they reflected in the minutes.
No, they're not reflected in the minutes, and that's why I was just asking you
Well,
whether you did or not.
okay,
Because you're the
but now
only,
you know
you're
I-
the only one that has firsthand experience. The rest of us are hearsay.
Well, that's
If-
right.
If that's a legal,
Okay,
good legal
well,
term there,
then,
Mr. Turner.
what's the difference between this forensic audit and a forensic investigation?
There, as a prior board minute went to say, it's semantics. Audit is usually with a CPA firm, and an investigator, they don't have to be a CPA firm. The background of these people were they were former FBI agents and involved in investigating different types of white-collar crime.
Okay, all right. Well, let me ask you a question then. Do you think that there were illegal activities or that things were not disclosed to members of the PEDC during that time?
I haven't done any investigating. All I know is what was included.
I'm just asking, do you think? You asked me if I thought, I'm asking you, do you think?
If there's some I think there's some questionable activities or things with it from what I have read with the documentation, and but that it doesn't matter what my opinion is. I'm not investigating them.
Okay, but you're saying though that you don't think that all the members of the PEDC were aware of what was going on?
I do not know. I wasn't there. You're talking about at the meeting that back in August of 2010. I'm not sure
What are
of the
y'all
time frame.
investigating?
What?
If you weren't there, then what are you investigating?
Councilman,
I'm-
can you give us a time frame when you're talking about?
Whenever she's talking about.
Well, I don't know what
Well, I
we're
was
talking
there.
about. That's
At
why
the-
I'm trying to get it
At the
clarified.
time I was attending those meetings.
You were there at the meetings. I was
Okay.
not.
You have a question?
Okay, that's my
well-
question.
At the August 2000, we were talking about August 2010, not the present day meetings we're talking about.
I'm asking you a question about what are you looking for? That's my question.
I'm not looking,
This is ridiculous, and I know I'm not allowed to speak, but I'm a
No,
citizen
you're
of the
not.
community.
Ma'am, you're not.
I'm sorry.
I called you.
And I'm asking you, in the proper perspective, please, I'll be happy to talk to you, but at this point, no ma'am, there is not an open forum tonight. There is one at the next council meeting. Dr. Grossnickel, you had a question?
Well, I have several questions. I'll just reiterate that, this whole thing came out of an unsigned letter, which cast aspersions on Harrison Walker Harper, Rogers Wade, former mayor and now district judge Will Beard, and I presume Steve Gilbert was involved with the PEDC at the beginning of this, but I'm not exactly sure at what date Steve took over. And also, apparently Pike Burkhart was, as chairman, I guess, thrown into this investigative net. But Ms. Clifford, you say you haven't received a report, but yet in this first statement, we paid $22,000. On page 1 of it, they drafted 3 reports that we paid for. On page 2, they drafted 2 and said finish and submit report, which indicates they, I presume, submitted it to you, since you're the only person who has had any contact with them. And on page 3, there's other, review, compilation of documents, report, draft report. So where are all these reports that you haven't seen or received? Why are we paying for them when they haven't been given to us, to you even?
I have not received the report. So is y'all's problem with it that we haven't received a bill? Or, because usually people do have interim payments on what the work they're done, or is that what the problem is?
No, I mean, the problem is that they keep charging for report after report after report, but yet you say you've not received a single one of them. So that calls into question why we are continuing into phase 2 and possibly phase 3 of this $50,000 expense. If they're not doing what they say and they're billing us for, I don't think we should be we shouldn't have spent another $20,000 if they're not doing their job, they're not giving weekly reports to you, and they're not giving a monthly status report.
Well, I received the bill, but we have not paid it.
Right, okay.
So
But they're assuming they're going to get paid because they apparently have stayed busy looking at credit card receipts and other things.
Right.
Which have nothing to do with what was alleged in this unsigned letter. So I don't know how we went from, investigating Rogers Wade ability to borrow, $5 million with only a $40,000 lot pledged as collateral, and how Judge Beard, who was alleged to have done double duty as working for Harrison Walker while he was mayor. What's that got to do with all these credit card receipts that we've heard ad infinitum in the past?
because when we were told to get somebody to investigate it, it was the operations of PEDC. It was not strictly focused on this. It may have started it, but it was not all the focus of PEDC if it had any problems. It was to clear PEDC up, and you brought up the question of Mayor Will Beard. I assume y'all have policies and procedures. I mean, I know PEDC didn't until we wrote them back this last year, but don't you have nepotism rules or rules that would you cannot do business? I think, Mr. Pickle, you can't even do printing for the city of Paris as while you're sitting on the council. Is that correct?
That's correct. Well, actually, it's not totally correct, but it's close enough.
Well, okay, you can't do printing, but the mayor can negotiate in a contract that was never sent to the city council to approve. Is that a I mean,
is that something you know for sure, or is that what they're, I mean, is that fact?
what do you mean? What, I know for sure what?
Well, you're making an accusation at this point, and I'm just curious if that's...
Well, there is no minutes that it was ever submitted to the city council. Is that correct, Ms. Ellis? So there is that it was never brought before the city council. I also have in August 2012, I believe it's August 2012, where it was brought up about what could be and could not be negotiated by PEDC without council approval. And at that time, Mr. McKillier stated that it was according to state rules that it should be approved by the city council. And in past, all major incentives were brought to the city council. And I would ask you to think, now, I know the incentive was 100 and something thousand. I guess that's up to, whether you can decide whether that's major or not. But guaranteeing $5.8 million on a guarantee of collection without notice of really adequate collateral, I think the city council should have been. I am not going into the facts because I have never mentioned, who it was. But,
Okay.
We all know now who we're talking about. But I'm not here to. I'm not here to
Understand.
investigate. I am not here to present facts.
Understand.
I am just telling you what was happening
Sure.
on the investigative report.
Sue? Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
just
do you have a
wanted to ask
question,
one-
Mr. Pickle? Because I know in your meeting on the candidates forum that you said the PEDC was basically need to get back on track.
Well-
And it'll be a challenge. And believe me, it is a challenge, but we probably have different ideas of what's going on with that and where it should get back to. But-
Absolutely.
So would you like to tell me? Because,
Sure.
we're here to.
I would like to see a report that was promised 30 days ago. On this contract, it says that they will do that. It says that they will notify PEDC and the city council if there are any problems. Obviously, there must have been a problem, or that we would have a report. It's that simple. We would like to see, and this is not the final report. It doesn't call for a final report. It calls for a written report. I assume that to be more of a status type report, letting us know what their findings are at this point and going forward. I'm just asking them asking you why you paid for something on a contract that they have not even honored that part of it. And that was the most important thing we were trying to get out of this, is a report of what occurred.
Okay. So what am I supposed to do now? I mean, I have no written report.
I would demand one. I mean, and say you're in default of your contract and we're considering whether we're going to pay your next $20,000 bill until we start getting more communication from you. And I have one final question, that the final charge on this bill of April was, or May, yeah, April, was 3 DDBI. Do you know what that means? Is that some sort of due diligence investigative report on the
I'm not familiar with the lingo.
reputations of Beard, Pike Burkhart, and Steve Gilbert, a flat rate of $3,000. And you don't know what that was.
Don't know.
I mean, I think those are questions that we should ask, because they're charging, they just seem to have an open checkbook, and we're paying it. And, in the end, we may find a few, business lunches that might not have been documented properly or whatever, but I hope we don't find anything serious. But we don't know, and we should know by this point, at least why they're continuing to churn hours upon the city of Paris and PEDC.
Okay.
So I'll shut
Sue, Benny, Aaron, you guys have any questions this time? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I want to reiterate most all the questions have been asked that I was gonna ask, but I really would like to, I really would like to see a report, because I really hate to spend taxpayer money for something that we do not have. And I myself would not recommend paying the other invoice until we do.
Okay?
Actually, I have a question for Mr. Grubbs, if you don't mind. Can you kind of walk us through are you vice chair? Vice chair. Okay. Can you kind of walk us through your perspective? I mean, this is a joint meeting after all, and be curious to see what Mr. Turner and Mr. Grubbs, just out of curiosity.
Well, perspective, that's a pretty broad term. Anything in particular you wanted me to answer?
Is the investigation, because that's what it's become, is it flowing the way you thought it would? Is it, how does the timeliness or lack of reporting sit with you?
A question that I brought up in the last meeting that we had was, where are our reports? And we didn't really have an answer for that. So big question marks in my mind. And then hearing the conversations tonight, obviously more question marks in my mind as to what are we really doing here. And I think if you go back and look at the minutes, you'll see that when it was presented to the PEDC, it was an investigation. And we were under the understanding that it was going to be an audit. I'm an accountant. That was my degree in college. I understand that CPAs issue their opinions. Those opinions are worth something. I'm not real sure what we get when we have an investigation firm give us a report. What does that mean? Is that just one consultant's opinion? Does it have any teeth? Does it have any merit? So I think that's kind of my perspective. I'm a little disappointed in how things have turned out, and regretfully so from the PEDC, because I don't think that what has transpired is what you've actually charged us with as far as an audit. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is that we get to the truth, and if that can be found, that we get to the truth, and that that's reported, and that we move on. I personally don't believe there's been any wrongdoings. There may have been a couple of documentation errors here or there, but I don't foresee that we'll find that the actions of previous board members or previous employees of the PEDC did anything incorrect.
Okay. Thank you very much for your opinion. I appreciate that. Anybody, Dr. Hashmi, you have a question?
Not from Mr. Grubbs. Miss, has there been any communication? I mean, what do they say?
Okay. It is an ongoing investigation. Okay? And we all agree.
Can you please come to the mic?
Okay. I did not want to go into my verbal report. I'll get up here. I did not want to go into the verbal reports, but obviously this is not going to end until I do. So I prepared a report to give you in case we were going to go on with the verbal. As I stated, I have received no written report, but I have received verbal updates. Since this is an ongoing investigation, I felt that I should wait until the investigation was complete before publicly discussing the investigation findings. It appears that all of you have a different opinion. In case I needed to make a public presentation, I asked Mr. Diffenbaugh to approve the release of information. In the absence of a written report from Diffenbaugh and Associates,
Asked him for release of information verbally?
he gave me the verbal reports. I sent it back to him. I said, this is how I understand it, and he approved what I'm about to tell you and what the report is finding.
Okay, whoa, wait. I have a problem with that.
No, you have demanded that we
let me
finish.
finish.
This is my meeting. You can go ahead. We are in session. This is my meeting. You wanted the verbal report, so
I didn't ask for a verbal report.
No,
you
ma'am,
wanted a report.
No, ma'am, I asked for a written report. I read right here where we were supposed to be provided with
you-
that.
Mr. Turner,
I
I'm
think-
sorry. No, that's
Okay,
not
but
going to happen
wait.
here.
I have not.
Reading too, Mayor. And
But
I'd
Then you
rather
treat everyone
say something here
then
than
you
here.
treat everyone with respect, please.
Okay, but I have been questioned about whether I I guess, not owning up to my responsibility
Miss-
of having the report.
I don't mean to
let me,
interrupt.
I will
Please,
finish.
just let me say one thing, Ms. Clifford, if you don't mind. Dr. Hashmi's question is, what do they say? And then we've asked questions about a timeline. And that's really the beginning and end of this. Have they given you a timeline?
Let me go ahead and tell you what they've done, okay? Because you questioned they have been sitting around eating bonbons, I guess.
Well,
Okay, presently, the firm has completed 4 reports. Because of allegations of criminality, all 4 of these reports have been turned over to the FBI. These reports have been accepted by the FBI for further investigation and/or prosecution. Upon completion of the reports in progress, more reports may be referred to the FBI. Due to involvement of the FBI, Diffenbaugh Associates will not be conducting any interviews. Instead, these interviews will be conducted by the FBI if the FBI deems appropriate in both time and course. Diffenbaugh Associates may not be able to provide PEDC with a full written report, as this report might interfere with criminal investigation by the FBI. A summary report will be provided instead. Mr. Diffenbaugh anticipates that it will be completed within approximately 2 weeks. Hopefully, the FBI will soon complete its investigation into each of the multiple allegations. If criminal activity is confirmed, I am sure that we all want to see the guilty parties punished for their crimes. What I find most disturbing about this entire episode is the lack of integrity in most of our news media here in Paris. When irrefutable evidence of wrongdoing was presented by Dr. Hashmi, Mr. Bill Strathern, and myself, the response was to trivialize these allegations. The approach was to attack the messengers rather than focus on the message, as such is today. Many of these credible allegations were never reported to the public. Stories and editorials could have been written condemning the obvious waste and abuse of taxpayer money. This could have led to immediate reform and prompt correction of the problem. News media response. Instead, the Paris News was more concerned about writing an editorial focused on the inexperience of the new PEDC board members. News media responsive to public interest should have been leading the charge, demanding accountability whenever public money was involved. However, they chose to devote their time to criticizing the current PEDC board and praising the past PEDC.
Ms.
No,
Clifford.
I'm finishing.
No,
It's my
ma'am.
meeting.
No, ma'am.
It's my meeting.
It's off the agenda. We're talking about the investigation
We're talking about the
itself.
investigation.
It's under the advice of the city attorney. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, but he's asked me to make sure that we keep it on point.
It
I
then-
just want to make sure, Ms. Clifford, that we stay in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. And there's nothing posted about how the Paris News has covered this investigation, and I don't want
It's
to
about the
get too far off
investigation.
of this.
Okay, fine. We will stop. You know what the investigation is then? You can make your own judgments of whether you think it was done appropriately or not, and why we ended up at this current stage of having to spend $50,000 to get to the bottom of it. But, we need to be more diligent about what we do and as appointed officials and as elected.
Mr. Frierson, can I
Sure.
ask a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Can you make it clear to me one more time? There is a report that is done by them or not done by them?
There are 4 reports, and because of it being turned over for further investigation by the FBI, they cannot issue those reports because it would be obstruction of justice, I guess is the current legal term for it.
Okay. Just going back to the contract for a second. Since it is part of the contract that they'll submit a report, again, I don't know who can answer this question. Will we be paying them for those reports? I suppose if they have conducted the investigation, we will. But they'll have to submit something to us, isn't it?
They will submit a summary report, and only after the investigation is completed by the FBI could they turn over the full report. If then, I think it would be out of their hands and out of our jurisdiction.
And they've already submitted these?
They have already been submitted. The 4 completed reports have already been submitted and have been accepted.
And their reasoning for not giving us the report is,
Because when they felt, or when they turned up allegations of criminality, is how he put it, that they then turned it over to the appropriate authority, and we were left out of the loop.
but this is what they've said verbally yet.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any question.
Can I-
Mr. Platt, sure.
I'm not here, I'm not hammering you, I just want to ask something.
Go right ahead.
Really, in your opinion, if this was you, since the contract said we would receive something and we haven't, do you feel like it should be paid?
They have done the work. The reason they can't give us because of they turned it over to law enforcement.
Correct.
That is something I am not qualified to step in and say.
I understand that. I understand that they have reports, they turn it over, okay? But the contract says we will receive it, but we haven't. So do you feel like we ought to pay?
The contract says that if they come up with anything that should be reported to the proper authorities, that they would take the report and report it to the proper authorities, whether it be local law enforcement, FBI, whatever I guess the branch would have jurisdiction. I am not a part of the investigation. I do not know. I am not a lawyer. I know nothing about that. I'm just telling you what I was told. So
Now,
I assume that we conclude.
I have one other question, if you don't mind.
Okay?
During this process, and as uncomfortable as it is for everyone, I realize that it's part of the process to move forward. We asked several times about reports, and we were told there were no reports.
No, I said there are no written reports, and I prefer not to give a copy of the information on the verbal.
Have you advised your board of any of this?
I have told them that their investigation is ongoing and that there is no written report.
Okay, and just go over with me one more time, and I realize that you already mentioned it. The timeline.
Mr. Friesen, I'll have a question once you get done.
Oh, sure.
So please don't close.
Ms. Clifford, you mentioned a timeline just a minute ago.
Approximately 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, that's what I was asking earlier, was what is the timeline? So, and that's
but
okay. I
I've
just
been
wanted to
heard
make
that
sure
it's
we got it out there.
That is before, that it had been earlier. It just depends on the amount of information and what they have uncovered. I can't,
Okay.
I'm not holding them to it.
Dr. Osmond, sure.
Do we know that they have actually submitted the reports to FBI, or have we confirmed? I mean, I don't know who to confirm it with, but is there some confirmation that they have received, that somebody has gotten some report on it?
He told me they had submitted them to the FBI. I have not confirmed it with the FBI. I don't have the number here with me, or we could call them, but I do not know. I have not verified it, other than what he told me.
And they would not be willing to give those reports to us, what they submitted to FBI, because of ongoing whatever criminal investigation. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct, because when the FBI took over, they have to back out.
Is it, you may not be able to answer, but is it based on advice of FBI that they cannot submit, or is it their own thoughts that they can? Well, forget it, because it doesn't matter really.
I believe it's FBI, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other.
I think.
I do have one question. Where do we go from here? If they go through it at $20,000 a month roughly, and it's a 90-day contract.
It's a cap of 50,000,
Okay.
and we don't have to pay the FBI to investigate.
That's good. But we're not sure. We're not sure they are investigating, because you said that they had turned the documentation over for the FBI to determine if they needed to investigate.
They accepted they accepted the report.
Okay, they accepted the report. I'm not arguing that. My question is that if we get here and they don't have a report to us, they don't have anything, and we're at $50,000. What happens next?
They will give us a summary report and tell us the information that they can in summary. It will not be the detailed report.
But Ms. Clifford, don't you think that they should be obligated to give us something after we have spent $50,000? I mean, it may be a summary, but I mean, they've got to provide us something, right?
They said they would provide us a summary report,
Okay.
but their hands are tied too by the constraints that law enforcement puts on them. I'm not a lawyer, I can't tell you that. Maybe Mr. Turner would, I don't know if things how investigations go.
As long as there's an ongoing investigation by law enforcement, Mr. Young here, who confirmed this, they don't want the information out while they're investigating potential criminal activity. Give people a chance to hide documents, get their story straight, lawyer up, whatever. So I'm satisfied at the end of the FBI's investigation, the presentation to a federal grand jury, if it goes that far, then at that point, I'm satisfied that the investigator will provide us with all their documentation. But as long as there's an ongoing criminal investigation, the U.S. Attorney, the FBI, they do not want this information out because it very well could jeopardize or compromise their investigation. I have no doubt in my mind at some point in time they will give us a complete report, but it's only after the law enforcement authorities have given the okay.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Ms. Clifford, I do have one last question, just an opinion from you, if you don't mind.
Make sure you stay on the agenda. I mean,
I quite intend to, thank you.
I know, I mean, I'm just making sure that we all stay on the agenda. Go ahead.
After all this spending, when this investigation was about misuse of funds and overspending, we're now $40,000 in.
No,
and-
the investigation was
and they
about an
haven't-
incentive agreement and a loan guarantee without
Oh, I
proper
know,
authority.
but it's far
about-
exceeded that.
About
You-
property not on the tax rolls for its appraised value and involvement of some unethical behavior on the
And
council.
then, in fairness, and then you broadened it to make sure everything in the last 4 years was looked at. That's what you said.
No, okay.
You did.
You asked me at the meeting whether we were only going to do that contract. I said, well, look at all of it, because you were implying that it was only about one particular incident, and this was more of, let's get everything out in the open. I told you at the time before we
Well,
even signed the contract.
my question was
and
going
what the time period would be.
My question was going to be, after $40,000 of expense, I'm sure that, and I've looked at the website of the firm and the qualifications, read off very well, but in your opinion, is it a likely scenario where one person, yourself and or Shannon, so maybe two, are sending them digital information or email copies and they don't ever investigate or talk to the people that were at the center of it? I mean, that, to me, is just kind of a random thing that they wouldn't exactly talk to the former EDC director. Does that
They
flow?
may have. They may plan it, but they said they can't. They'd have to.
Well, they could have in the beginning.
After they gathered all the information, but maybe they found that I guess I just don't need to even go there because I can't speak for them.
Well, I was just asking your opinion. So
I have
that's
no opinion.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? No? Not at this time? Thank you very much for all of you for coming. I do appreciate that. And to those in the crowd, I do appreciate you coming too, because if this thing, if we don't learn anything from this, we need to learn that transparency is best, and we're all here to do the right thing to make Paris a better place. Sometimes that's uncomfortable, and sometimes that's unfortunate, but as long as we're trying to do the right thing, then I hope we grow and learn from it. With that, we move to item number 4 for adjournment. Can I have a motion? So move. Got a second? Second. Second from Mr. Plott. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I talk?